No matter the amount of deer and habitat quality where you hunt, it's beneficial for all of us to be good at accurately estimating the age of a buck. It's one thing to understand the general body characteristics and how to estimate a buck's age, but it's another to do it in those few seconds we have when a buck steps out right before shot potential. That's why we like to use trail cameras throughout the summer and get to know the bucks in the area we're hunting, so when they step out, we're not under pressure, but we can identify that deer, reflect back on the age we've already assigned to that deer, and then make a good management decision. There was a buck on our property that has some non-typical points we called Gumby, and he looked good. We'd got a lot of pictures of him throughout the summer. But based on his body characteristics, we estimated he was 3.5 years old. On a cool morning during the fall, Gumby responded to a grunt call and came in less than 10 yards. I was so pumped up watching Gumby respond to the call that I probably would have tagged Gumby if I hadn't known in my data library, looking at trail camera pictures throughout the summer, that he was 3 years old and probably could express a lot more antler potential. Having a hit list, if you will, served a very positive management role and allowed me the confidence to pass Gumby that morning. That was tempting. I want to share some of the tips and techniques we use to estimate a buck's age. We pretty much discard pictures where the buck is a long ways from a trail camera or facing the camera. A lot of pictures like this are posted on our social media asking for us to help estimate the buck's age, but we can't offer an accurate answer because we can't see much of the buck's body shape. We can't tell his body characteristics from a head-on position. Remember that body characteristics are much more important to accurately estimating a buck's age than antler size. So my first tip when estimating a buck's age is to ignore antlers. Here's an example of a buck with a body shape that's probably the most common body shape of bucks any of us see on our trail cameras. Unless something funky's going on, we're going to get more pictures of yearling bucks than any other age class, anywhere in the whitetails range, because each year, more bucks of a specific age class or cohort have died to hunter-harvest or natural mortality. This buck is clearly a yearling. His shoulders and hams look small and underdeveloped. His legs look too long for his body because his chest isn't developed and it's not hanging down, covering up a portion of his legs. If we cover up his antlers, and I do this often on my computer screen, if I cover up the antlers, he looks like a young doe. This buck's body is more filled out, he has a larger body size than the first deer, but if we cover up his antlers, well, he looks like a doe. There's nothing that would make me look at this buck's body and say, ooh, there stands a buck. I use this technique all the time. If I cover up a buck's antlers and I just take a look at it, and I look at his neck, his shoulders, his chest, his hams, his back line, and it looks like a doe, it's almost always a 2-year-old buck. I find this technique holds true from South Florida to Iowa. It's usually easiest to accurately estimate the age based on body shape of yearlings and 2-year-old bucks. Three-year-old and older bucks are a different beast. We're getting into age classes where the shoulders, neck, and hams look different than a doe. 3-year-old bucks tend to be very proportional or balanced, if you will. Bigger shoulders, but bigger hams, full chest and body, but it's not sagging, they don't have a pop belly, and a great illustration is they look like a sleek, racehorse. It's very rare that I look at a 3-year-old buck and if I cover his antlers, the body looks feminine or like a doe. Even though their bodies are fairly well developed, especially this time of year pre-rut, their neck will not be large enough to merge at the bottom of their brisket. Their neck will merge with their chest well above the brisket. Check out this buck. Even though he's kind of facing the camera, you can tell his shoulders are much bigger or better developed than the first 2 bucks we showed you. His rump is larger and his chest and tummy are just rounder and better developed. This buck has impressive antlers, but his chest is not significantly larger than his rump. He's got that sleek, fit look all the way through. This is a deer that I believe has a lot of potential. He's 3 years old. He's got probably 25% or more of his antler growth to develop in future years. And here at the Proving Grounds, we'll give him a pass. We believe the buck in this video is 4 years old or older. Check out how much more developed this buck's shoulders are than his rump. It seems to me this buck's neck is fuller, more developed at the same time of year and merges with his chest closer to his brisket than the buck we just showed you. His chest is very developed. It's kind of what I call a buffalo chest. In fact, it looks like there's more mass or more weight, if you will, towards the chest than towards the hands. He's not balanced like the 3-year-old. As we discussed earlier, everyone's personal hit list is based on where they hunt and their personal hunting objectives. If you're a guest on someone else's property, then I believe you should play by their rules. If you're hunting public land or hunting on Granny's back 40 and there's really not a deer management program, then set your standards appropriate to what your goals and objectives are for that season. We know that management works much better when it's based on the age of the animals versus antler size. As an example, let's say you set your harvest criteria at 4 years of age. You're a coastal plains South Carolina resident, but you draw a tag for western Kansas. Well, the antler sizes can be significantly different based on the habitat at each location, and you want to adjust your harvest based on body size and not antler size. Before season starts, I want to share with everyone that there's been multiple research projects that have shown clearly we can't cull deer, quote unquote, and improve the genetics of a wild free-ranging herd. To make significant improvements in antler size based on genetics, you need a pedigree. You need to know the results of the offspring of different pairings, and we never know that with wild free-ranging deer. So basing your harvest on phenotype or what you see versus genotype, what they produced based on pairings, is impossible. Culling simply doesn't work.